I've designed this video to be the only tips video you'll ever need. Do you know how to move the rocks on your island and place them wherever you want? Or how to predict your turnip prices? Do you know about the scary event that happens every day on your island at 3 a.m? Well, in this video, I'm going to be explaining all of those, plus 97 more tips that I handpicked for you. And while I'm sure everyone would understand a 100 tips video being, well, 100 minutes long, I really tried to respect your time and I cut that down from 100 minutes to less than 45. And I really hope you enjoy it because it was kind of fun to make, despite taking a ridiculous amount of time. So let's get started. Hunting for your dreamy villager? Well, leave your ladder behind on your island. If, and only if, you are only interested in going to the island, seeing what villager is there, and then leaving. Having no ladder means that the villager will never ever spawn on a cliff. In that circumstance, you would never be able to reach them and then take them home, so the game just doesn't put them on the cliff. This can speed up your villager hunting immensely. However, remember, if there is something on those cliffs that you want to get to, you won't be able to, so it's a bit of a trade-off. Are you a hoarder like me? Do you keep just shoving items into your house storage and then realize, oh no, it's completely full? Well, you can increase your storage by simply creating a new profile on your Switch, booting up the game, and then placing that new character's house down. You'll be able to have so much more storage like that. Not only that, you'll also have an entirely new house to decorate. So if you think your island is full, maybe it's not. I mean, everyone knows you can press B to speed up dialogue too. But did you know that you don't need to do that? You can just use the left bumper and it will have the exact same effect. This stops you from either canceling dialogue that you don't want to cancel or accidentally telling a villager you really like to leave. It can be really bad, so this saves you from all of those mishaps. This tip comes in handy early game when you're really strapped for cash. Instead of digging up your flowers when you're getting rid of them, try picking them first and then digging up the stems. Selling both of them together will make significantly more profit than just selling them normally. Do you like to plan things? Are you the opposite of me? Are you proactive? And do you actually like to plan out your island before? Well, luckily for you, there is this island planner website that you can use and you can plan out your map and where everything is ahead of time. Or if you want to make the most beautiful map possible, following the tip that came right before this is also an incredible option. If you just keep on shaking a tree, you will get an infinite number of sticks. And I mean, like, seriously, you just keep picking it up and keep shaking the tree. I don't know how many branches these are supposed to have, but yeah, they have infinite branches apparently. This also works for acorns and pine cones too. One slept on thing that I see everywhere, or rather I never see, is people actually using albums that you can use, like the KK albums here. You can actually just use them as wall art, and a lot of the designs are really cool and thematic and significantly better than the actual wall art in the game. Try it out. Did you know that if you play Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, you can get extra exclusive items from it in your Animal Crossing New Horizons game? The process is a little bit long and complicated, but now that you know you can do so, simply check the description and I'll have a link. Follow exactly the guide that you're seeing on the screen right now and you'll get them for free. Plus you'll get some extra goodies in Pocket Camp. When you plant a money tree, you have to put in a certain amount of bells. And if you ever put in more than 10,000 bells, you're wasting your money. Now, I'm not going to go into all the math, but trust me, that is the most efficient way to make bells. And for a little half tip, when you dig up the glowing spot and then instantly plant the tree, you can dig it up and relocate it anywhere. You don't need to leave it where it's going to be an eyesore, or you could even make like maybe a forest of nothing but money trees. Now that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? And speaking of trees, do you ever like how they look before they're fully grown, but they just keep growing? Well, now you can make them stop growing. Once your tree is at the perfect growth stage, you need to plant one fruit tree behind it. Don't do a normal sapling. It has to be a fruit sapling. Now, no matter how much you time travel, no matter how much time passes, it will always stay this cute little tree. Instead of having to replace all your tools often, you can just carry some customization kits with you and you can customize the tools whenever you think they're getting low, and they will actually reset their charges so you can use them technically forever. Veterans of the game might not know this, but tarantulas or scorpions cannot attack you if you do not have your net out. That never used to be a thing, but it is a thing now. So if you are scared of them now, don't be. Just don't take out your net and they'll be nice to you. Another thing you can do is pull out your camera. Now, you can't even get stung if the camera is out. This also works for wasps, by the way, and you can actually fake them into the water, or as you see here, fake them behind some dug holes and catch them like that. You recognize this sound? Yeah, it annoys me too. It is actually not just an ambient sound in the background, it's actually a mole cricket. in the ground. And if you go around digging like crazy, like what I'm doing right here, you will dig it up and then catch it with a net. And no more annoying mole cricket right where I'm building. It was driving me crazy. This is the oldest trick in the book, but there are new players that are going to be watching this. Dig behind you. Dig 2 holes behind you when you are hitting your rocks for the day, so you don't bounce away, and it makes your job so much easier. Speaking of hitting rocks, make sure you're hitting it with your shovel. If you actually hit it with another tool like your axe, it does work, but it's significantly slower, as you can see right here in this split example. If you find a wasp nest in a tree, quickly close your game and remember where you found it. Now you can go back, dig up that tree, and relocate it somewhere safe where you won't chop it down or try to shake it. That nest will be in that tree forever, and you'll never have to run into them again. But make sure you remember where you put them, because in my case, I have something to admit. I hid mine too well. And now trying to make these wasp tips, I can't actually show any examples because I don't have any wasps in any of my trees. Please just pretend there's a wasp there and just please, I'm doing my best, okay? Being chased by wasps? Well, did you know that if you go under these type of arch furniture, they can't actually get you? I know, it's crazy. I don't know what I'm supposed to do at this point, but yeah. They can't get you. I'm not sure why you would do this, but you can also scare away wasps with a party popper if you happen to have that, but not a net. It's cool. It's just a cool little thing you can do. But if you don't even want to have to deal with the wasps at all, then I highly suggest shaking trees with your net out. But if you go at it at a 45-degree angle like this, when the nest falls out of the tree and your character looks at it all shocked, you'll just be in the perfect position to just instantly swing the net at the wasp, which totally isn't a stick, by the way, and catch it instantly. When you go into the Able sisters, of course you're going to naturally talk to Mabel more often, but Sable's there in the back. And you can have a really lovely kind of storyline with her if you just talk to her daily. You know what? I'm going to let you experience it for yourself. It's really lovely. I highly suggest it. Just remember, every time you go in, talk to Sable, you'll see. Group stretching. You either love it or hate it, or really have never done it before. Honestly, I think most people have never even tried it, but you can do it with your friends. If they are your best friend and are in your best friends list, you can do it together. It could be fun, you know? And also take note of the villagers that you see while you are stretching. If a villager like Celeste is actually going to be on your island that day, she'll appear here. Have you been playing a while and you're already done donating all the fossils to the museum, but they keep popping up on your island? No matter how many you dig up, they keep appearing. Well, if after you dig them up, you bury all of them, then they will no longer spawn because they're already in the ground on your island and the game thinks that it doesn't need to spawn them anymore. As you can see here, I kind of hid them behind these trees and fences, so they're completely out of the way. You can also do something similar with weeds that pop up everywhere or sticks that fall out of trees. I have a whole video dedicated to this because it's a little bit complicated, and if you want to check it out, check up the top right corner or in the description, and I'll have it linked there. One of the best updates to hit Animal Crossing was the Mario pipe. Now, why is that? If you keep one in your inventory and have one in your house, for example, that's where I put mine, you can get home instantly from wherever you are. This is just a crazy good thing if you're constantly going between 2 places on your island, or you just want to pop back home for something, maybe go to your storage really quick. You can just drop this down and go there instantly and then pop back in and come back. Honestly, I love this item. However, if you have multiple of them on your island, it becomes a random chance which one you appear to, so don't place too many or it could get almost unpredictable which one you'll appear out of. I personally loved breeding flowers, and if you want to know the most efficient pattern to breed them, this is it on the screen. You do this by having a lot of space in between different colored flowers or ones that you want to mix so that new flowers can spawn. This gives you the most amount of effect with the smallest space possible. Now, if you use the exact same growing pattern that I just showed you, except with only red roses, you're gonna get the beautiful black rose. Now, if you get the golden watering can and water those black roses, then you will get the ever elusive golden rose. Now, how do you get a golden watering can? Well, you know what? Let me teach you right now. Well, first you're going to have to get a 5-star island rating by decorating your island, not having a lot of weeds or a lot of trees or a lot of garbage on the ground, and then you just talk to Isabel. And I guess while we're on the topic of golden tools, let's just rifle them all off right now. You can obtain the golden slingshot after popping 300 balloons. I know, it's a crazy amount, but you'll get there. They come pretty often. And after that, you will find a golden balloon hovering. Pop it and the recipe will be inside. The golden axe is probably the easiest one, arguably, because you can rush it at the beginning of the game. All you have to do is break 100 axes. You could do this by just crafting a bunch of flimsy axes and just hitting the same tree over and over again. Use flimsy because it will never cut down the tree, but it will break super quick. It's just a really good combo, and you can knock this out, honestly, maybe in like half an hour to an hour. And if you don't know where you are, just check your achievements. They'll be in there along with all of the other ones for the other golden tools. Actually, a fun fact if anyone's interested, it was actually one of my first videos teaching people how to get a golden axe when the game first came out. It's not that good of a video, but if you dig in my channel, I promise you'll find it. I'm not going to link it though, because it's a little embarrassing. Now for the golden rod, all you have to do is complete, it's funny, I say all you have to do is complete the fishing Critterpedia. Now, it kind of goes the exact same thing for the bug net, except you just have to complete the entire bug Critterpedia, which is, in my opinion, a little bit easier because you can physically see what you're hunting for, but they're both not that easy. There are entire guides dedicated to doing both of these, and I personally haven't made them, but definitely go online and find some of them because it's a big thing to do. And now for the one that I dreaded the most. That was the golden shovel. I still don't even have it myself, honestly. It's because you have to help Gulliver 30 times. And while you can do a bit of a trick where you just keep repeating the same day over and over, because Gulliver always appears on the exact same day. So if you just keep time traveling to the same day that you found him initially, he'll always be there. Except the mini game is really annoying. You have to look for these little dots, and honestly, I would prefer fishing because at least it's a varied experience. This is a pretty deep topic, so I'm gonna really skim over it, but the easiest type of villager to get is an octopus of any type. And if your dreamy villager happens to be a cat, well, sorry, it's gonna be the hardest type of villager to find. If you want to know why and dive deeper, definitely check out Koramora's video on the topic. She's not only a friend of mine, but also an amazing YouTuber. Definitely check that out. But hey, what if you want a cat villager and it's super rare? Are there any ways you can increase your chances? Yeah, absolutely. If you have villagers in a move-in queue, again, check Koramora's video to learn about that. Or they're already on your island, they won't appear when you're villager hunting, which means if your dreamy villager is of the exact same species, then there is a higher chance they're going to appear. So are you searching for Marshall, but another squirrel just moved in instead? Well, maybe think of keeping them and then getting rid of another villager that you don't like instead to make your chances higher. I'm genuinely surprised a lot more people don't know this, but you can put your mailbox anywhere. It doesn't just need to be in front of your house. You can just walk up to that baby, pick it up, and then just place it down wherever you want. When KK Slider is playing a concert at your island, you can actually request custom songs from him. But did you know that if you guess the songs wrong, you can actually get some super secret songs? Those songs are Drive-In, Animal City, and Farewell. Some really good songs there. And don't forget that during the concert, you can actually give a bit of an applause by spamming A. I got a little carried away here. When you're trying to kick out a villager, sometimes it can be really frustrating, but you should keep an eye on what day of the week it is, so that when it comes around to the day before Saturday, or any fishing tournament or bug catching tournament, you can skip 2 days forward instead of just 1, because no villagers can actually leave during these special days. Trust me, when you spend hours trying to kick out one villager, this saves you so much time and frustration running all the way to your resident services only to realize, oh my goodness, KK's here, I can't kick them out. Wasps are kind of annoying, but did you know they only appear in hardwood trees and cedar trees? They never appear in fruit trees. So when you kind of make like a tree farm, or you're just going around your island collecting wood, make sure you only use your fruit trees. Now, you don't want to chop down your fruit trees. They give you, well, fruit, obviously. Well, remember what I told you with the golden axe? If you use a flimsy axe, yeah, it's gonna break pretty often, but it will never, ever, ever cut down the tree, which makes it ideal for just gathering wood. Earlier on in the video, I actually gave you the tip that you can carry a bunch of things like the trash can or storage container, warp pipe in your inventory to make things easier while you're building. However, depending on how your island is built, you might not actually need to bring a workbench because there is always going to be a workbench in resident services. Sometimes I've seen people go from their resident services all the way to their house to use a workbench and then run all the way back. It's don't do that. Just use the one in resident services. It's been there since the very beginning of the game. Thanks to dream addresses, there are so many extra things you can do in Animal Crossing other than just decorating your island and playing, I guess, in a vanilla way. My personal favorite thing to do is to visit maze islands. You can find these by like searching Twitter, Reddit, on Google, and you can find some amazing islands like right here. This one was a really difficult one. There's also some really cool lore heavy and like murder mystery islands that exist that are made by amazing community members, maybe like yourself. Heck, maybe you can even make one yourself. Instead of eating 10 fruit or other types of foods that can give you multiple boosts per eat, by far the best food to eat is a turnip. So if you can actually snag one, eat a stack of them, and you will actually get an instant 10 boosts. It just makes cleaning up or decorating your island so much easier. Oh man, but did you eat too much? Did you eat too many and you don't want to like break the rocks or anything like that? Well, you can actually just go to the bathroom and dispose of it. I guess we could say like this. Yeah. And while we're on the topic, this fossil looks like, yeah. Is this video gonna get monetized? You might be wasting a lot of time waiting for loading screens when you're time traveling. A lot of people typically wait for the game to say it's done saving, then go to the home screen, close the game, and then do all the time traveling. You don't have to do that. Right when it says save complete, minimize, go to your system settings, move forward to the correct date, and go back and open the game again. When it's open, simply press A and let it load back into the title screen. It will load up significantly faster because the game's already mostly loaded. Short chase here to remind you to subscribe. That's probably the most important tip of the video. No, but seriously, it's the quickest and easiest way to help me out and make me feel good. Unfortunately, this one is going to be for people that don't often time travel. However, if you don't time travel, you can actually send cute messages to yourself in the future. I know a lot of people during the pandemic, they actually sent messages to their future self and saying like, hey, how are you doing there in the future? You know, it's really tough right now, but I hope future me is doing well. And then people, you know, maybe quit the game, who knows? And then they come back to it a little bit later and they see this cute little message from themselves. You know, it's like a time capsule and it's really nice. So don't forget this. And maybe this is the time that you stop time traveling and you enjoy it. Maybe if you're not going to play for a while, send it to yourself now. And then when you log back in the future, you'll have a cute little message. You can place extra items on top of really tall towers, including the Mario block. All you have to do is simply place down the item, walk up to it, and just press place. It's really simpler than you'd think, but a lot of people don't even know you can do this. Look at the duck, he's so cute. Want to quickly zoom in on something but don't want to whip out the camera? All you have to do is double tap the home button. Now, you can't do this normally, but if you go into settings, all the way to the bottom, system, then nearly at the bottom again and enable zoom, you'll have access to this super nice feature. Not only is it great for what it's intended for, those who are visually impaired, but as a streamer or YouTuber, it's amazingly useful to bring attention to something. And ever since I discovered it, I can't live without it. Want a really, really easy way to increase the friendship you have with your villagers, but don't want to do the traditional way? Just gift them fossils. If you're not really strapped for bells and you've already donated that particular fossil to Blathers, I highly suggest giving them to your villagers. They just seem to really dig them. Get it? Because the museum is one of the prettiest places in the game, and you can also appreciate all the collections that you have made. But did you know that if you go into the fossil room and in some other places, but specifically the fossil room, if you stand in these little circles or in these special areas I'm showing you right now, you can get a beautiful view of the collections you have, especially the large ones that you normally cannot see. Like, look at this. Like, this is a magnificent angle that normally you can't see. Go and check out the museum. It actually has a lot more nuance and some really cool things in it that a lot of people just skip. Did you know that you can hit balloons with nets and it will actually pop them? Now, I'm gonna be honest here. I spent a ridiculously long amount of time trying to line this up, and I just couldn't because my island is so decorated. But just see this, just pretend there's a balloon right there, and I hit it and it fall. It's like there's no reason you would ever do this, but instead of typing typing slowly like this, which drives me crazy when I have to do it, or even using the touchscreen on your Switch. You can just download the Nintendo app on your smartphone, then open Animal Crossing, and then click the keyboard and type from there. You can even get the plug from your USB keyboard and plug it directly into your Switch dock and type like that. Whew, that was already 50 tips. Did you guys learn anything? Or did you already know every single one of those? If you did, that's actually pretty impressive. But how about these next 50, all right? I'm gonna get you with these. If you have extra bugs or fish that are worth a lot of money and you want to sell them for more bells, I highly suggest just saving them until Flick or CJ comes to your island, and then you can actually sell them for double the profit. A little bit of patience will pay off huge, like literally double the money. Now, of course, everyone knows you can use your wetsuit to jump in the water, but did you know you can jump from extreme heights? This isn't the best example, but it is higher. You can jump from even higher, like all the way the max height. If you run and then jump, you'll do that cute little front flip. And also look out for this if you're doing any maze islands. Now, here's a mistake that I even made and I was reminded of in my last tips video. Did you know that the birds on top of the bulletin board mean there's a new bulletin posted there that you haven't checked yet? I know, I didn't even know about that one. Huge shout out to Freckleface for letting me know that in the comment in my previous video. If you guys have any tips that I missed in this video, post them down below and maybe I'll make a new video filling in the gaps of this one using your comments, and of course giving you credit for helping me out because it took so long for me to think of these 100 tips by myself. So I really appreciate any help. Thanks guys. Now I've toured some of the most beautiful islands in the game and they all have one thing in common: a beautiful map. And people making their first island usually run into the pitfall of using too many custom design paths. Now, while they're absolutely gorgeous, you need to be having an underlayer of the traditional base paths. This is because they actually show up on your map. You can see here my little dot pathways and lines, or even check this map, the Alice in Wonderland one, using the water and the pathing perfectly to make this gorgeous display that is so thematic. Actually, this Alice in Wonderland map is from the hardest maze that I have ever experienced. It took me so many days to finish this island. And if you're watching this video just as it comes out, it might not be posted yet, but if that video is posted of me going through that island, check up here in the top right corner, or of course, check the pinned comment to go and check out that video. Red has some of the coolest items in the game, but they never seem to refresh. So don't forget that every day you should go and buy one of the art pieces, even if it's fake, just so that the next day he'll have a new one. Sometimes I just forget about it and go through an entire week and realize, oh man, it's the same 2 items from a week ago still. So don't forget. The order your items are in your inventory is the exact same order they will be switched between when you use the left and right D-pad buttons. This is incredibly useful when you're using something like ladders and vaulting poles for a maze island or something. Instead of having to open your wheel or even your inventory, you can just press the D-pad and switch between the 2 most popular ones. You don't need to play Animal Crossing alone. There are so many creator discords that you can join and hang out with other people and discuss stuff, show things off, and get help. Now, since I've been inactive for so long, sorry about that by the way, my Discord's a little dead, but if anyone's actually interested and would like me to revive it, then let me know in the comments and I'll think about revamping it and then re-releasing it to the public. After buying enough items from Wardle, you can then order some of the items you've unlocked in your Happy Home Paradise DLC that you've used in the houses there, and you can order them back on your main island. This is a much more fun way to catalog items than going to some spicy islands and picking up things for hours. Honestly, this is a good route to explore. Sometimes when you've decorated your island so beautifully, it's hard to actually see what you're doing and peek behind things. Well, have no fear. All you have to do is open up your inventory. You see, I can't see anything, and bam, I open my inventory and I can search behind this cliff where normally you won't be able to see. This is yet another tip that is so invaluable on maze or like treasure hunter islands. This tip is one of the most important ones, and I really want you to listen to this one. If you ignore the whole video, this is what I want you to know. Stop comparing your island to others. I'm guilty of this. You're guilty. Everyone's guilty of this. These incredibly talented people that spend a lot of time decorate their islands beautifully and then post it online, and then we look at it, mere mortals look at it, or maybe even I tour them, and we just feel so bad and we lose motivation, or we abandon our idea for our island to copy someone else's, and we just get lost along the way, and eventually it leads to burnout and not enjoying the game. Just relax, take it slow, and don't compare yourself. Your island is yours, and you should enjoy it at all points while playing the game, both before it's decorated, during the decorating, and after. It isn't some goal, because there is no goal for this game, really. Just enjoy it. Are you a degenerate like me and you just don't sleep at 3 a.m.? Or maybe you just time travel to 3 in the morning sometimes and just play at night because maybe you like the vibes or the music. Well, go and turn on your TV in your house. At 3 a.m. you'll notice this little test screen. And then at 3:33 a.m. exactly for 1 minute, you'll see this. Go and check it out for yourself. I'm not going to spoil it here. Some things you just have to experience yourself. When trying to demolish big parts of your island, you'll probably run into this. You try to break off the corner, and now each of these pieces is taking 2 hits to break off. Yeah, I mean, you can do that, but there's a faster way. Start breaking them down into rows. First, break down one straight line, then go back to the one that you were bordering, which has nothing bordering it anymore, nothing to round off into, and then break that one, and break it down using one action per block instead of rounding the corner and then breaking it off. I don't know what to tell you. It's simple but super effective. It literally takes half of the time. Want to make the absolute most money from your turnips? Well, there is a crazy website with an awesome name called turnipprofit.io, and if you actually go in here and fill out the information correctly, I was using incorrect information here for, of course, demonstration purposes, but fill it in correctly, it will tell you what numbers you can expect on which day, which will help you know if you should buy or sell at any given time, so that every single week you are making the absolute most amount of money possible. If you own the DLC Happy Home Paradise, this moss, not only this glowing moss, but also the vines growing here, they're pretty cool, right? However, if you pick them all, you might think they're all gone, but they literally respawn every single day. So you can just go pick them all up, time travel to the next day, come back and pick it all again. Maybe not all of them will respawn right away, but trust me, you have a technically infinite supply. So pick away and enjoy. I love tropical trees and tropical islands, but the problem is coconut trees only can grow on the sand on the beach. Well, you can get around this by placing just one singular sand path down and then planting the tree in there. It's almost impossible to notice once the tree is fully grown, and it just gives you so much more freedom when designing your island. Sometimes when you're designing your island, a lot of things get in your ways, and one of them is villager houses. That's why I suggest before you even start decorating, put all of your villagers' houses on the beach, or at least the ones that you don't have the area decorated for yet. Sometimes when a villager's house is too nearby the area that I'm building in, it kind of makes my mind too closed off to the possibilities that could be made there. If you have the Happy Home Paradise DLC and have completed 23 homes, you unlock this beautiful thing. This gives you a really awesome daily way to make some money, or at least convert your money. You can exchange your Poki, which is what you get in the Happy Home Paradise DLC, for bells at a 2-to-1 ratio, but sometimes that ratio changes. Like today, I can give 100 Poki for 212 bells. You can either use this every single day to just use up your Poki and get a lot of bells, or vice versa, or you can kind of play the stock market, not like the turnip one, but just a little bit more of the currency exchange market. Just another way to make a quick little bit of money every single day in the game. Man, sometimes when I'm trying to record a video or set my dream address, I want it to have a specific weather pattern, but I never know what day it's gonna rain, or have the aurora borealis, or how about even a meteor shower? Well, using this tool, you can actually find all that out. You put in some of the details from your island, and it will show you the entire month's forecast. Trying to give your friends some bells or buy an item from another player, but oh man, you can't carry that much money with you, or you forgot to bring it all together. Well, if your friend has an ABD on their island anywhere, you can actually interact with it and withdraw your money there. Now, unfortunately, you can't place your own one there, and they can't place it while you're on the island. But if it's already there, then they can use it. Think about putting this on your island so that if a friend comes and visits, they can give you some of that money a little bit easier. I don't know, it's just a good idea. Captain's boat ride is actually quite long, and after the first 10 times, it starts to get a little bit dull. You can spice that up by performing emotes while you're on there. Just start pressing your buttons and you'll notice you'll be clapping and having a good time while you're on there. If you really don't like it, if you don't like Captain singing, which why wouldn't you? He's amazing. But if you don't like it, press B. No, I mean like press it again. Keep pressing it, like spam B, keep pressing B, and then all of a sudden you'll kind of tick them off, but you'll skip the entire cutscene and yeah, it'll go a lot quicker. When you're crafting, you can speed it up by double tapping A. You don't need to spam it, just press it twice. When you unlock a new achievement, you don't have to scroll down manually. All you have to do is press down on the left joystick and it will instantly skip to the one you just unlocked. And speaking of achievements, don't forget them while you're playing the game. Like, have a good look through them, have a little gander through these, make sure you're making a little bit of progress towards them each day. Now, I know it seems like, oh, I don't really want to do that, I'll do it later, but it can be a real pain in the butt when you realize you have to talk to like all of your villagers for 30 days in a row. When you realize, oh man, I've played so many days, I played so many days of this game and I've talked to maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 of my villagers, but not the last 2. So if you are paying attention to these sort of things, when you're playing your game regularly, you can unlock these crazy achievements and then who knows, maybe you'll unlock all of them one day like I am struggling to do right now. I don't know about you, but after my first screenshot with the first like bridge I made, I didn't take many more of my gameplay. Because, well, I am a YouTuber, so I did record a lot, but there's a lot of funny moments that you want to actually take a screenshot of and keep them. Because now that the game is getting, well, it's a few years old now, right? It's getting up there. You're going to have these fond memories opening up your Switch. Maybe not next year, but like in 10 years. Like, I know for a fact I still have my original DS. You know, I can go and visit my old Nintendogs. Oh my god, what a great title. But Animal Crossing is also a great title, and it has so many memories, so make sure you take screenshots with your friends, even if it's not posed, just snap it and just have a little bit of a nostalgia. And trust me, this is just another little thing. Again, not a tip, not a trick, but something nice that you should keep an eye on. I completely forgot these happened, but now I don't. Now I remember them. What great times. We all know kicking out that one pesky villager can be super difficult, but the warp pipe can help so much. Put it right in front of your house, and then every time you time travel and come out of your house, jump right in that warp pipe, go right to the town square, or you can also put one right beside the villager's house that you're trying to kick out to see if they're home or not, and you will save so much time. The amount of times I've run from my house all the way to resident services, don't find the villager, then run all the way to that villager's house. It's mind-numbing how long that process takes. And if you use this tip, you're gonna save so much time. Like, I promise. Heck, maybe even try to put the villager's house near resident services so you can knock out both at the exact same time. So this is one that not a lot of people know, but if you stay in cherry blossom season, it will only ever be clear skies, maybe a little windy, but clear skies and it will never rain. So if you're trying to kick out villagers and you're annoyed by it snowing or raining and your villagers always being indoors because when they're indoors you can't kick them out, make sure you're in cherry blossom season. When you get to the end of cherry blossom season, which is April 10th, then on the next time, go a year forward and then go 10 days back to April 1st, and then keep repeating the process every 10 days. I spend my entire life in this game in cherry blossom season, and it's always so pretty. Just look at that. So yeah, great tip. Are you annoyed with rock spawns, fossils appearing, flowers overgrowing, and weeds just going everywhere? Well, you can stop that. All you have to do is make a custom design, but not just any design, an invisible one, completely transparent, probably the easiest thing you'll ever design. And then you place it on the border of all your plants or the flowers or anywhere you don't want rocks, fossils, flowers, or weeds appearing. This allows you to time travel and not worry about weeds or flowers overgrowing your entire island and possibly saving you hours of cleanup. If you have a flower or some weeds, if you're gonna have just one somewhere, and you want to make sure that it just stays there by itself. An easy way to add the transparent designs and a perfect border around it with very little effort is to just stand on the flower and then just keep spamming it. It will tell you when you can't do it anymore. The biggest problem with these invisible designs is that they're invisible and you don't know where you placed them or didn't place them until after they've already been filled with the flower, and then you have to dig it up and go through the whole process. However, an easy way to get around this is just to overwrite your invisible transparent block with something with a crazy obvious pattern like I have here. Once you replace it, all of the ones that you had placed will be very obvious to you. You can finish placing them all on your island, and then after, change it back to transparent, and bam, it's back to as beautiful as it was before. And one of the coolest things you can do with these invisible patterns, is actually control where things spawn on your island. You can control where the rocks go because the rocks will not spawn on patterns. Yes, even the invisible ones. If your entire island is covered in pathways or flowers or something is somewhere, and you only leave a little tiny spot for the rocks, when you break them, they will spawn in one of the open spots. Using this, you can make a rock garden or, like I have here, gravestones. Now, this is extremely tedious and takes a long time, so I highly suggest this being one of the last things you do on your island because it's really just a final touch. A lot of people fill in holes like this. They use their feet. The problem with this is that you can accidentally pick stems, or for me, erase invisible pathways that you use to actually stop overgrowth of plants. I suggest simply filling it back in the way you dug the hole with your shovel. This doesn't use any charges or durability, so you don't have to actually worry. Have you already gotten your goldenrod and finished your Critterpedia for fish and have no real reason to go back fishing? Get it? Because well, go back and start fishing again. The reason being is you can unlock a lot more recipes this way. It's a very, very quick and easy way to do so. Sometimes you have no idea what to do with your island or if you even want to play the game anymore. Well, that's what social media is for. I highly suggest going onto places like Twitter or Instagram or Reddit and even our Discord to get a lot of inspiration from other players to see what they're doing. Now again, remember my previous tip, don't compare yourself. But you can happily look at these islands and maybe they'll spark a beautiful idea for your own creativity to shine. This next one is another DLC one, but it's also my favorite update that has happened to Animal Crossing in a really long time. If you have Happy Home Paradise and completed 30 homes, you unlock the ability to redesign your villagers' houses, both inside and outside. Gone are the days where you have to choose between your dreamy villager and having a house that matches your island theme. It doesn't matter anymore. You can have both. When you start a new island, you will always have a new campsite villager, and the first one will always be a Smug villager. The good thing about this is that amazing villagers like Raymond or Zell, Julian, and even Marshall are all Smug villagers. And honestly, that's not that bad because the Smug villagers are pretty cool. Like O'Hare, another underrated villager. Did you dig too many holes and found yourself in a little bit of a pickle? You don't want to really fill them in. It's going to take too long, but oh man, they're such an eyesore. You know you can just time travel to the next day, right? And they'll be filled in. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but if you're digging up holes and like remodeling your island, just leave the holes there and then time travel to the next day and they'll all be filled in. It's a lot easier than manually doing it yourself, like a lot. Are you not a big fan of time traveling? Like you do it a little bit, but you'd rather play the game in the way it was intended to be played, one day at a time and on a schedule. But the problem is that usually your life is on a schedule, so you only experience 1 or 2 times per day, and the music can get a bit stale and lose its magic. What I suggest you do is offset your time by a couple hours either before or after, and this way you can still play naturally but experience different periods of time. Designing in Happy Home Paradise is super fun, but sometimes the restrictions regarding the items you must include in the design can be a little bit limiting. And even worse is that sometimes they don't even match the theme at all, which means you have to sacrifice some of your design just to get it completed. Well, all you have to do is unbox the items that have to be put in there first, tell the resident you're done, and then go back later, talk to the resident again and say, hey, I want to remodel your home. Now, when you're remodeling, you can remove those previously mandatory items and put in whatever you want. This also allows you to rename it as well. It gives you a lot more flexibility. So if it's a really important villager, I like to do this first to give me a really clean slate. This one might seem counterintuitive, but please just hear me out. If you're villager hunting to get all of your dreamies at once, do not speak to the villagers you like the most. I know it sounds crazy. If you've never talked to a villager, it's literally impossible for them to ever get the move out bubble. And the opposite of that is also true. If you're trying to kick out a villager and you've just never talked to them, like a new villager moved in and you absolutely despise them, so you never spoke to them, well, you can't kick them out until you do speak to them. So make sure you talk to the villager once and maybe twice for good measure before you start time traveling to try to kick them out. Don't forget about Red's raffle. It actually has a lot of really cool items and some of them are handheld and look super cute when you're taking photos or just walking around your island. Here's something I bet you didn't know. Weeds don't actually lower your island rating, and it's very easy to get a full 5-star rating while having a ton on your island. However, if you don't have any weeds on your island, it actually improves your score. So having weeds is not a negative, but not having weeds is a positive for your island. And there's a lot of islands that use weeds in a beautiful, creative way. One item people often forget they can decorate with are presents. Now the problem with them is that you can't actually place them anywhere, but if you shoot one down, it will stay on the ground there as a decoration until you pick it up. So if you're patient or lucky, you can put it wherever. Just make sure your friends don't accidentally pick it up. Cap'n Islands have a 22% chance to have a special rare island, and there's many different types. However, if you talk to Katrina and she tells you that your fortune is going to be like a belongings luck, it is then going to be 100% chance. So if you get that fortune, make sure you run straight to a Cap'n Island. One of the coolest ones is the Star Fragment Island, and it's only a 3.14% chance, but Cap'n Islands work a little bit strangely. They represent different days on your island, just kind of like in a different zone. And Star Fragment Islands are technically June 15th if you're northern, December 15th if you're southern, and if you haven't experienced those days on your game, on your main island, if you haven't played on December 15th in-game or June 15th in-game, you can never get a Star Fragment Island. Each island corresponds to a different day. It's really complicated, there's whole videos on this topic, but yeah, if you want a Star Fragment Island, make sure you experience June 15th or December 15th if you're in the southern hemisphere. If you want easy DIYs, simply go to your beach every day and find the message in a bottle. Easy, right? But did you know you actually get 2 per day? One appears before 6 p.m. and then if you play the game later at 6 p.m., a second one will appear on your island. Make sure you get both every day. If you're newer to the game or just haven't finished your bug Critterpedia yet, I highly suggest leaving stumps around your island. A lot of bugs only spawn on these stumps and it will help you finish it a lot quicker. I didn't do this. I thought they were too ugly, so I didn't use any. And now that I'm trying to complete my Critterpedia, I find myself manually putting stumps everywhere now, and I just wish I did it earlier. I actually only figured this out today. You can open and close the curtains in your house. Yeah, just walk up and press A. I don't know how I didn't know this, but you can do it. Everyone knows that you can find really cool items in your recycling bin, but it has its own exclusive furniture, and that is called the sloppy set, and you can see them right here on the screen. If you're interested in any of those, well, maybe this is your sign to get a little stinky and go dumpster diving. Ordinances are amazing. They are. And in previous games, I personally loved the beautiful ordinance, but I find in Animal Crossing New Horizons, it's actually kind of a burden. Now that we can decorate so freely on our island, having flowers pop up everywhere all the time and grow quickly is genuinely annoying. So if you're noticing your maintenance on your island is getting a little bit out of control, make sure you don't have this accidentally enabled in the exact same way that I did. When completing your Critterpedia, it's really important to know which ones you've already gotten and which ones you've already donated to the museum. You can know instantly if you haven't gotten something yet because your character will say yes before it tells you the pun that usually comes with finding something. And if you open your Critterpedia, of course, it shows what bugs or fish or whatever you've already collected, but if you hover over them, you can see if you've actually donated it yet to the museum. And this is indicated by the owl icon beside its name. A lot of people don't even notice it, but yeah, it's right there. And honestly, will really help you keep organized. Maybe the storage in your house is completely full, or maybe you're using these items to decorate your island, but anything you put on the ground and drop and isn't naturally occurring, like a stick or something, it will actually lower your island rating quite a bit. At only 15 of these items on the ground, you'll actually be called messy. Like, it is the worst rating, and it's only 15 of these items. So if you're trying to get a 5-star island or even 3-star for the main quest line, try picking them up, at least until afterwards. Personally, for number 100, my personal biggest mistake that I ever made in Animal Crossing. As you can tell, I have a lot of trees on my island. I chose not to decorate with items, but with nature. And because of this, I couldn't get a 5-star island for an extremely embarrassingly long amount of time. And in order to get it, I had to chop down almost every single tree on my island, dig up the stumps, and then replant it afterwards just so I could get a 5-star evaluation, which would allow me to get the Lily of the Valley and the coveted golden watering can. So if you're going the same route as me, make sure you get that golden watering can and your Lilies of the Valleys before you start going crazy with trees. You'll regret it if you don't. And now for the last tip of this video, and it's that it's okay if you want to take a break. It is. This is a game that's meant for fun. And if you're feeling stressed out or like burnt out of something that's supposed to bring you joy, maybe you should take a break. And if you choose to continue playing, realize that it's not about having a perfect island. This game is not about that. It's about making your island and having fun doing it. Now, don't forget to have fun making your island, because if you just struggle and get to your end goal of a finished island, you're probably gonna feel empty. Because once your island's done, it's done. Well, anyway, if you liked this video, check out this next one right here. And if you learned something or found value in this video of some sort, I'd really appreciate if you liked and subscribed. Of course, it makes me feel good, but it also helps the algorithm too. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.